Playing defense can be very challenging in college football 25. And if you're struggling to get stops, then you're in luck, because in this video, I'm about to break down my full guide of how to play lockdown coverage, lock up, and get more stops. Now, I'm about to show you tips that you can utilize playing man coverage, match coverage, zone coverage. We're going to go over everything you guys need to know and get you guys up to speed on the defensive side of the ball. Now, my name is Duke, and I run Sportsgamerz.com, where for decades, I've helped thousands of college football and Madden players get better at the game and win more games. And today, I'm going to help you guys as well. Now, the tips I'm about to show you in this video, you can utilize from any defensive playbook you want, and really multiple defensive formations. But for the purpose of this video, I did pick the 3-3-5 tight defensive playbook if you want to follow along with me. Now, on this year's game, there's essentially 3 different coverages you need to be aware of, 3 different types. You got man coverage, match coverage, and zone drop coverage, right? Now, I'm going to go over the differences of each, when to utilize each, and tips to utilize with each, but I want to start with man. Man coverage is really my favorite coverage in this game, and I'm going to explain why, but there's a lot of different types of man coverage you can play. You can play a cover 0 blitz, such as the mid blitz 0, where there's no safety help over the top. You can play a cover 1, where there's a safety in the middle of the field. Or you could even play a 2-man, which is basically going to be cover 2-man with man press coverage, safeties over the top. Now, knowing which style of man coverage you're in is very important. Man coverage is pretty sticky on this game, and one of the best ways to utilize it is picking the cover 2-man with the safeties over the top. So if I come out here, I'm going to come out and gun bunch, right? We're going to go ahead, press our coverage by hitting coverage audible and down on the left stick. And at this point, it's all about shading. Now, shading is my #1 most important tip for playing effective man coverage in this year's game. If you know how to shade properly, your man coverage is going to play 10 times better than if you don't shade. Now, shading has been in the game for years, and some years it works reasonably well. But this year, I feel like it works better than it has in quite some time. You're going to notice a drastic difference in shading the right way. Now, a lot of people don't realize that you can actually shade multiple ways. You can shade your whole defense, and you can also individually shade players. And I want to go over all the different ways to utilize shading in man coverage. So first off, what are the ways we can shade and how do we do it? So to shade your coverage, you're going to hit either the triangle or the Y button, depending upon your system, which is the coverage audible menu. And when you do this, you see on the right analog stick, you can hit down for underneath shading, to the left on the right analog for inside, to the right for outside, and up on the right analog stick for over the top. Now, up over the top is better if you're playing a cover 0 blitz maybe, and you don't want to get beat deep over the top. But we're in cover 2-man, which means the safeties are over the top, so we're really not worried about getting beat deep. So what I like to do in this situation is shade my coverage underneath by hitting down on the right analog stick. This is going to make the DBs play more aggressive, play more of a trail technique, which they already kind of are, being that it's a 2-man under, but they're going to get more aggressive. This is going to be really effective on shutting down crossers, slants, drags, digs, posts, all those different types of routes. We're going to play more aggressive on now, and even corners and like outs too. But we can get even better. So if we just snap the ball right here, you can see our shaded coverage down. This is an aggressive coverage. And, there's pretty good coverage. I'd say the only guy that got open right there is the post. If you take a look at the replay, the receiver running the post did get a little bit open, but that's okay because we can fix that. So this is where shading twice comes into play, which, like I said, a lot of people don't realize. So if I come out again and press my coverage by hitting coverage audible and down on the left stick to press. If you want to get better at college football 25 and win more games, check out my college football VIP membership on Sportsgamerz.com. Put the link to order in the comments and the description. You will get access to all the content I release for college football all year long, including the best offense in the game, the best defense in the game, my secret A-gap blitzes, my rollout glitch, my run defense, and my pass defense, and much more. Let's dominate together, boys. And then hit coverage auto plus down on the right stick to shade underneath. We can now shade either to the left or the right. So basically, we can combine our underneath shade with an inside or outside shade. So like in a situation like this, say I got beat by a post last play, I can then hit coverage audible plus left on the right stick to now shade my coverage to the inside. And you're going to notice that when you do this, the route going to the inside, it's not going to get as open anymore. If you try to throw that, that's probably a pick. So you can definitely see shading inside or outside properly with the shading underneath is extremely good coverage. As you guys can see here, there is literally nothing open. The funny thing here is even though we shaded to the inside, there was a route that broke out on this play and it still did not get open. And the reason for that is just the simple fact we shaded underneath made the DB trail this even more. So it did not get open. Now, if we did not shade underneath and we only shaded to the inside, it probably would have. Now, I'm not going to say if you guess wrong, if you shade inside and they run an outbreaking route that you're never going to get beat deep, because you definitely will. But there's even a way we can get around that. So let's say that maybe the offense is running a play where we know, they have routes breaking both in and out. Maybe they're running a play with a post and a play with a corner at the same time. So in a situation like this, you actually want to utilize both global and individual shading, which is my next big key with shading. So let's do the same thing we did last time. Let's press our coverage, shade our coverage underneath, and then to the inside. So at this point, we're pretty much good. But if we've been doing this and notice they like putting a certain receiver on a corner route that's beating us, we can actually do shading inside and out at the same time. So the way to do this is once you shade your coverage down and inside, if you know that one receiver keeps running an outbreaking route, you individual shade him on top of the global shading we already did. Now, this is getting a little bit more advanced, but bear with me. To do this, you hit coverage audible, triangle or Y, then you see when the menu pops up, you have the individual button. For me, that's X. You hit X. Then you hit the icon of the offensive player or receiver that is running that outbreaking route. So, say it was the outside right receiver, that's circle. We're simply going to hit circle's icon, and then now when we do this, you see we have individual options. We could spotlight him if we wanted to focus our coverage up for him. We could shade him left, shade him right, back him up, or press him. What I want to do here, because he's breaking on a corner out to the outside, is shade right, because that would be to the outside in this situation. So now, if we go ahead and snap this ball, you're going to see that, we get really good coverage all the way around. There's really, yes, you could say maybe we could have fit that post in there at the perfect time, because, this is a college football game. He did not get as good of a press as he did the play before, which is why there's a little bit more separation. So if you had the perfect timing, you probably could have fit that in. But at the same time, you saw the last time we did this, it got completely caged. It was completely locked up. I'm gonna do one more example of that, just so you can see. This is shading down. So I'm shading down, then to the inside. Then I'm individually shading the outside right receiver to the outside to lock down the corner route. Now, you saw the last play, the corner route was locked down. It was just honestly the post that got a little bit open. So let's see what happens here. So this time you can see there is nobody open. Literally every receiver was blanketed, the post, the corner, everything was covered very well. So this combination of shading, when you do it correctly, it's not literally unbeatable, but you're going to notice a huge difference. You're going to have a lot more success. If you're going to play man coverage, shading is an absolute must. Now, that's going to lead me to get into match coverage. I feel like match coverage is very misunderstood. A lot of people think it's buggy, but the reason for that is they don't really understand how it works. So let me explain, first of all, the difference between zone drop and match. How do we even know if we have a matching defense? How do we know if it's zone drop? So first of all, certain plays literally have the play match in them. For instance, if I see like a cover 3 match, like right here, it says cover 3 match, we know that's a matching defense. But then there's other defenses that don't say match that are. So, for instance, like a cover 4 quarters, cover 6, cover 4 palms. These are all matching defenses. And if you're questioning whether it's a matching defense or not, it's honestly very easy to determine just by looking at the play art. So I want you guys to look at cover 4 quarters, right? Notice how those purple zones, the 2 slot corner zones, they're more so light pink. Anytime you have light pink zones on the play art, those are matching. Now, let me go to a different defense. That's not. See, look at cover 4 drop. You see how those purple zones are dark purple? That means it's not matching. It's zone drop. So if you're ever confused, just literally look at the play, see if there's light purples or dark purples, and you're going to be able to see. Again, like overload seam press, that's light purples and light pink. It's going to be a match. Cover 6, light pink, it's a match. Cover 3 cloud, that's a dark purple. That is zone drop. So let me get into this match now and show you guys exactly how it works. Like I said, there's plenty of match plays. One of my favorites and easiest to use on this game is the cover 4 quarters. Now, cover 4 quarters typically does a good job in basically matching, corner routes and vertical routes downfield. A lot of people don't really understand how match truly works. It's really good at dealing with people that run a lot of corner routes, vertical routes, etc. Now, what can we really do with this? Hey, let's show y'all. Let's pick this play out a bunch. Where's it at here? Let's do corner strike. So this is going to be a typical flat corner streak combo, something that a lot of players run. Now with match, essentially what's supposed to happen here is that this player in the quarter flat is supposed to take away the first receiver into the flat, and then the 2 deep zones are supposed to latch on into any vertical threats. Now, the thing about match is if someone knows you're playing match, there are ways to bomb it, right? So match is not something you're going to want to run no matter what, but it is a good tool to mix in. Think of match as almost delayed man-to-man coverage, where zone drop is literally drop coverage. Your defenders in zone drop are defending an area of the field. Match, it's almost like, depending upon the route combo, it's a delayed man coverage. So let's see how this works against this route combo right here. So you guys can see, this works pretty well. Now, our defender made literally no play on the ball, because that's another issue with this game, is defenders just don't play the ball in the air well at all. But you can see, this did what we wanted it to. We had the flat zone take away the flat, the deep zone take away the corner, and then the other deep zone take away the streak. And on this side of the field, kind of the same thing happened. The deep zone took away the corner, C route. The flat zone took away the flat. So everyone was in good position. At this point, it's just making a play on the ball. Now, what if you're in match, but you don't actually want to play match? Like, what if you are in a match play, but you want to turn match off? A lot of people don't realize you could easily turn match off on this year's game. And the way to do that, there's 2 ways. You can either set your zone drops, or you can just shade your coverage underneath. If you shade your coverage underneath these purple zones, they turn to hard flats, and now you'll notice that you no longer will get matching. This will just be zone drop. So let me just show you guys the difference here. Notice how these corners, they're not like latching on into man coverage. They're just playing an area of the field. So I want you guys to notice the deep zones on this play. Notice how the deep zones, they're not manned. They're not latching on in man coverage. They're just playing their area, and which is honestly not the best, because I don't like cover 3 and cover 4. I do not like cover 3 and cover 4 zone drop at all, because the deep zones, as you guys can see, they're not aggressive. They don't guard anything. But if you did want to turn match off, that would be the way to do it. Either shade your coverage underneath to get rid of the matching purples, pink zones, or simply, if you call a match play, but you have zone drops turned on, say, we have curl flat set to 5, the same thing will happen. If we call a play that is matching, we don't even have to shade, it will not match because our zone drops are on. Now, you guys can see here again, it's not necessarily the best thing in the world because, well, zone drop is not the greatest, but it still is a viable option against certain players. But I would not really recommend too much zone drop against guys that run, compression and abuse the sidelines, because especially with this year's route stems, it's just way too easy to get people open on the sidelines if you know what you're doing. So, long story short, my top coverages in this year's game right now are man and match. I'm not a huge fan of zone drop, and that is just because you can easily on a cover 3 or cover 4 abuse the sidelines with route stem corner routes, post get open, you can bomb these coverages. There's just way too many easy things you can do, as you guys can see here, to beat this. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and you want me to break down even more of my coverage secrets, I have a lot that I'd like to show you guys for cover 2. Drop me 500 likes on this video. We'll post a cover 2 breakdown. Until next time, it's your boy Duke, and I'm out of here.